Grand Rising, beloveds, and welcome. My name is Sheena with the Way of Namaste, and I'm so glad that you're here. Today is Sunday, November 23rd, the week of Thanksgiving as celebrated by some in North America. And it's Sunday, which means it's our Soulful Sunday, and a day that we gather for our community prayer at 11:11. So, as always, this is a moment to get settled in, to create our sacred sanctuary in whatever way feels true for you. Today, I'm sitting by my rebirth altar. It's been about 14 days with this altar, learning from her, communing with her, practicing yoga with her, meditating with her, listening with her, writing with her, and just receiving from this portal, this medium. We have so many beautiful mediums to work with, and an altar is a great one for just communing with your higher self or any of the celestial, benevolent, angelic guides that want to come in. So this has been a pretty powerful altar. And so I love being able to represent it here while we're having our community prayer space. So invitation to allow this altar to be your altar today. If you don't have an altar set up, which is perfectly okay. And if you do have an altar, invitation to light a candle, creating this sacred sanctuary for yourself. When we greet the altar, it's always nice to let the guides know that we're here, that we're ready to commune with them. So I'm going to go ahead and ring our little hummingbird bell here, inviting our benevolent guides to be with us. I do have the candles lit here. The colors on this altar is yellow and white. There's also some touches of gold and orange in here. And this has been truly an altar about the rebirth of humanity. So as we settle in, let's go ahead and just gather ourselves into the space. As I said, lighting a candle. If you feel like you want to have something to write with, if any messages are coming up, be sure to grab something to write with. You might want to put your phone on do not disturb just to keep yourself from getting distracted over this little bit while we are together. And let's just go ahead and just begin to concentrate on our breath. And just beginning to notice how we are being breathed. This is how we become inspired. Inspire is a Latin word for breath. So when we invite in the breath of spirit, we become inspired. When we are contracting our breath with shallow breaths or not going all the way to the base of our perineum, we can become agitated, frustrated, anxious, fearful. So this would be a great time to just notice without any judgment if you're experiencing any contracted breaths today. And if so, can you allow that breath to freely travel all the way up and down your meridian points, your chakra system, and just maybe even imagining each of your chakras as these flowing, turning pinwheels. So at 11:10, we will close our doors and go into a moment of silence at 11:11 for a full 60 seconds. After that time, we'll go ahead, we'll create our group soul. We'll do a little bit of a guided visual meditation, and then we will share our energy with one another and go back about the rest of our day. So these calls are typically between 30 to 60 minutes. So I do like to pull a card while we are just inviting others to gather into the space with us. I'm just always feeling into which deck wants to be communed with today. So in the spirit of Thanksgiving here in the Northern Hemisphere, I've decided to play with Kyle Gray's deck, Angels and Ancestors. So there's usually some great Native American wisdom that comes through. So let's go ahead and just check in with the cards and see what wants to be shared today. So just tuning into our breath, feeling ourselves being breathed, taking deeper breaths. We're going to be pulling from the Angels and Ancestors Oracle deck and just seeing what message wants to come through for our sacred space today. As always, oh, we got a jumper. Speak through me, speak to me. The card that comes out today is Autumn. Release the old and rest. So there we go. The Autumn card. Looks like a raven or a crow, but let's see which one it is. 138. So let's see what message is coming through for us today. It says, release all of the pressure and expectation weighing you down. Shed it all so that you can recover before moving into a time of renewal. Autumn is when the trees are preparing for the long, cold winter and must let go of all the weight they're carrying in order to continue to grow and prosper. Sometimes you too just have to surrender an aspect of yourself in order to continue to grow and prosper. The raven, there it is on the autumn card, shows that there is an opportunity to heal at this time. In Celtic animal medicine, the raven is the bird of healing and initiation. The healing it brings is a shift that allows you to move into a more powerful psychic space where you can be more aware of your needs and desires and be better supported. You know what is heavy, what is holding you back. Is it a person, a situation, a dream? Like the trees letting go of their leaves and fruits in the autumn, it's time to let it go. When you hold on, you try to control reality, and that never works. When you let go, you make space for the new to enter your life. You are being guided by your angels and nature herself to release whatever's stopping you from moving forward. And you can do this. When the autumn card arrives in the future position of a spread or as the last card in a reading, it can also indicate that the coming autumn will usher in important energies with regarding to your question or intention. So there we have it. We got a beautiful little raven with these fallen leaves here. So after our moment of silence, we'll talk a little bit more about this gene key that we're in right now. But it is gene key 34, which is the shadow of force, the gift of strength, and the divine expression of majesty, which I love when it comes through the winged ones, because these are these majestic creatures that glide through the air. They're not forcing flight, they're just flying. And here, as we're in Sagittarius season, we've had a little bit more levity than we did with Scorpio season to bring in more lightness so that we could be gliding through life instead of trying to force everything. Nature right now is allowing her leaves to just gently fall to the ground. They're not clinging to the tree, trying to force themselves to stay on the tree. They're just being released. So at 11:11, we'll go into our portal for just shutting down for a moment. And this is an opportunity as we go into this silent space to choose how you want to experience this silence. You may like to take some deep breaths during the silence. You may like to place in this portal a field of gratitude, maybe listing some things that you're grateful for. You may also like to call in any of your benevolent guides, ancestors, ancestors, herbal allies, benevolent beings that might want to just come through and offer a message to you. So this is your time. This is your prayer space. And after we have our prayer, after we have our silent meditation, we'll go into creating our group soul and then just a little visual exercise this week to share a little bit more about this gene key and how we may be working with it instead of being burdened by it. So let's go ahead and just take a couple deep breaths into the space and just noticing how we are arriving today. When we go into our silent portal, you might like to even close down your eyes and just experience this space, tuning into the third eye rather than the outside world. Just feeling the fullness of your breath, allowing it to travel from the base of the perineum all the way up, 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 and through the crown chakra, feeling yourself releasing anything that's not serving you to the heavens. And then on the inhale, just feeling yourself receiving from the heavens all the way down through your crown, through your third eye, through your throat chakra, over your heart, cascading down over your solar plexus, down through the sacral, down through the root, down into the crystal core of Mama Gaia, and just holding and getting anything from you that you'd like to be released out into the world that you no longer need to carry. Might even like to add some movement, just shaking anything off that's no longer serving you. So as we've reached our 1111 portal, we'll bring us into a silent space. We'll see you on the other side. Just taking another deep breath in. Maybe releasing it with a sigh. You may like to stay in this meditative landscape with your eyes softened or gently closed. And we're going to go ahead and create a unified field here. This is a practice by mystical esoteric teacher Alice Bailey that I've also practiced with my teacher Jamie Day. This is about actually allowing our egoic mind to take a back seat where we begin to experience our soul essence. So the first thing that we're going to do when we've shut down our eyes or softened our gaze is we're going to tune into our heart chakra, that fertile space in our chest, and just beginning to feel this emanation of this emerald ray glowing from the center of our heart now. You may feel this coming in from the back of your heart and emanating out the front. And as we tune into this emerald ray chakra, here we are feeling the unconditional love that we are. And if it feels in alignment, we go ahead and send that unconditional love right through our heart space into our temple space, beginning and ending with you, both receiving and giving this current of unconditional love. Here we activate the essence of our body into the field. On this next breath, we're going to go ahead and we're going to activate the essence of our mind into the field by going ahead and bringing our awareness to the Ajna, the space between the brows. And here I invite you to see, sense, feel, or imagine this indigo ray now glowing from your Ajna, from your third eye. You may also again feel this coming in from the back of your ajna and emanating out into our temple space. And here, as we've already cultivated the space of unconditional love, we're now going to braid this space with this indigo ray of unconditional living and infused wisdom, seeing one another clearly, soul to soul, and cascading this indigo ray out into our temple space, beginning and ending with you. Just beginning to build this field now of living intelligence around our temple space. Next, we're going to travel even further up, activating our soul essence into our temple space. And here we're going to see, sense, feel, or imagine this diamond halo just above our crown chakra. And here we're going to activate our soul light. This is our vast field of memory, of essence, our Akashic library. This is how we can attune to that field of telepathy. And here we'll begin to see, sense, or imagine this diamond light from our soul light activating into our temple space now. And just beginning to radiate that light around our temple, beginning and ending with you. Just beginning to bridge this unconditional love, this living infused wisdom with this Akashic field of library around our temple space. And here now we've been creating a vertical pillar of light. We've activated our mind, our body, and our spirit. And now from this place, invitation to go ahead and connect to your center self. However this image or sensation feels within your body, know that it is right. This is the divine essence of your being. This is the highest expression of your soul. And this is the sacred seat of your power. Taking another deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth as we connect with our source self. This other emanation of our source light, the purest expression of our being. And here we'll take a moment to just allow this essence to remember us, to acknowledge us. We might even be able to float outside of our body and look down at the human that's sitting or standing there. And just giving reverence for every moment that this being has gone through to bring us into this eternal now moment. And here from this unified field of body, mind, and soul, center and source, this vertical pillar of light that we've created, we call forward our intentions for our time together. We align with the highest and greatest good for ourselves, for each other, and for every living being throughout all time and all space. Take another deep breath in and out. Call forward our second intention. As sovereign beings, we align with the highest and greatest choice. Choices for ourselves, choices for one another, and choices for every being through all time and all space. We root our prayer in wholeness and, as always, in sovereignty, giving thanks for all the beings who have come before us, who are guiding us now, and who will come after us, acknowledging our 7 times 7 times 7 generations backwards and forwards. We all, as always, acknowledge the technology that allows us to come together in this eternal now moment, whether it's here or it's catching the replay. And just thanking the power of technology that allows us to create these sacred spaces from every corner of the world and bringing us to this crystal grid activation of our lit candles and our open hearts. So this week, we are activated by Gene Key 34, which is the shadow of force, the gift of strength, and the city or the divine essence of majesty. And this week, we are invited to notice where we are forcing, where we are trying. Trying is the dilemma of this gene. And this is when we, as the analogy goes, try to force a square peg in a round hole. And so the invitation is to become aware of what it feels like to be forcing an agenda, to be forcing one particular way of being. And so I'd like to invite us into a guided meditation, just a little visual exercise for just a moment. So coming back into that meditative landscape and just imagining in the center of our chest, right back in that heart space where we were just activating that emerald ray. Just imagining here that we're holding a square peg and we're trying to insert it into a round hole within our heart space. And here we may just begin to see, sense, or imagine this analogy or this metaphor for anything that's happening in our life right now. Just noticing, where is it that we are trying? Where is it that we are forcing? Where is it that we are proving? Where is it that we are resisting in some way? And just beginning to notice what it feels like to put a round or a square peg in a round hole. And feeling what it feels like to push something. It's not in its natural timing. It's not in its natural rhythm. A space where we're serving my will over thy will. And next, from this landscape with your eyes softened or gently closed, I invite you to go ahead and see that emerald ray now shifting into sacred geometry. Maybe it's a tetrahedron. Maybe it's a Merkaba. Maybe it's a triangle or pyramid. Just noticing whatever shape starts to be illuminated in your third eye, in the seat of your imagination. And as you reach into your pocket, you pull out a key. And you notice that this key is exactly perfectly designed for this sacred geometry. It's a perfect fit. And now you take this key and you place it into that space, that heart space. And you notice, just like you noticed before with the pushing, the forcing, and the trying, notice the gentle ease that comes through when this perfect key fits into this perfect sacred geometry. And feel what it feels like without any resistance, without any pressure, without any desire or need to prove. Notice what it feels like in your body. Maybe allowing a softening of the shoulders, of the brow, of the jaw. Maybe even a straightening of the back naturally comes. And just feeling what it feels like to tune into the strength of your body's natural wisdom. The gift of this week is strength. And strength comes from softness. It comes from allowing rather than resisting. And I just invite you to bask in the light of this moment, to notice what it feels like, to trust the strength of your body's intelligence as it informs you. even when that data says now isn't the moment. Rest is just as productive as work. And maybe there's a monkey mind or some chatter in there that has resistance to resting. You know, as this card autumn shared with us, we get to experience autumn each year. And through nature, we see these leaves as they gently fall to the ground. We see her preparing for winter. This week we have Thanksgiving in the Northwest, this bounty, this harvest, where we give thanks for the season, for the fruits of the season, for the efforting that we've put into the season. And we fill up our bellies with this analogy that as our bellies are full, we can then go into a period of rest, in a space of digestion and integration as we go into the winter months, not needing to put as many things on our plate, not needing to work as strenuously, not trying to force ourselves to be in the same rhythm that we may have been during the springtime, but just allowing ourselves to fall into the natural rhythm of just releasing, of shedding, of letting go. You know, in numerology, 2025 represents a 9 year. And in numerology, the 9 means nearing completion. And here we're almost done with this 9 year. We're reaching the end of this portal. And in this place, we get to review, refine, reflect, reminisce, and remember. Coming together is the point of our journey, creating unity through these pockets of quality time that we can have one another. And maybe that's found around a holiday dinner time. Maybe that's found in our quiet contemplation or a virtual space with others. But we all get to decide what is right for us when we stop forcing our agendas or our family's agendas or others' agendas being imposed on us. You know, if our work week changes this week, we decided that we're not going to go to work on Thursday, we're not going to go to work on Friday, maybe we're not even going to go to work on Wednesday. Can we allow ourselves to put down that work and come to a place of rest rather than the monkey brain of thinking about all the things that are not going to get done, or how do we work twice as hard in the beginning of the week to make up for the later half of the week? Can we allow ourselves to simply be? And what would it feel like to have a different kind of rhythm this week than maybe we had last week, or maybe then we'll have next week? And so, however we're celebrating this week, if we are celebrating any holidays, our invitation is just to allow ourselves to be. We're in Sagittarius season, and this is the time of learning through the sage of our higher self, that also comes through the wisdom of not only the elders, but the innocence of the children. So this week, can we make time to play with the kids around us, to learn from the children who are here to teach us? This Capricorn moon in New Earth invites us into a space of being. Old Earth wanted Capricorn energy to be in a space of doing. But can we see Capricorn as the goat, as the perseverer, as the one that knows that rest is just as productive as work? And can we allow ourselves to have those periods of rest so that we can keep persevering, so that we can keep going? Because a human is not built to be a machine. And we might have a lot of machines around us or machine-like behaviors that want us to keep going, 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 going. But can we leave that to the machines? And can we allow ourselves to be human? Allowing ourselves into the space of rest, of purely being. The light beings that we are, emanating our light just in these fertile spaces of contemplation. So let's go ahead and take another deep breath in. Maybe allowing a sigh on the exhale. And can we learn from this Capricorn moon that the greatest work that we'll ever do is the work that we do on ourselves? So however you celebrate this time of year, may you feel nourished. May you feel supported. May you feel deserving of rest, not needing to produce in every moment, not needing to force, but actually allowing the strength that comes through our softness, that comes through allowing ourselves to let something go without resistance, without the monkey chatter that we could have done it differently, but just noticing what we notice from the majesty of nature. Every day the sun will rise, and there's nothing more majestic than watching this beautiful sunrise and this sunset, where the sun is just being, just glowing, just emanating light, and just reminding us that that is too what we are here to do. We're not machines, we are humans, and we get to be human, and we get to enjoy the experience of being human, and we get to learn from the winged ones and all the messengers that come in the season of autumn in the north, or the season of spring in the south. It just invites in the natural rhythms of nature. The sun doesn't shine because it's trying to prove something. It just is. So let's go ahead and close with sharing our energy into our space by bringing some friction between our hands, by rubbing them together and just feeling the energy that we create, that we generate. This energy is our life force energy, and it is so absolutely precious. What we give our life force energy changes the fabric of our reality. So instead of being so distracted or outsourcing our life force energy to the things that don't fully matter, let's celebrate the things that do. And on the count of 3, we'll go ahead and blast it into our temple space, sharing, giving, and receiving this energy simultaneously. 1, 2, 3. Whoosh. 11:33 on the clock. We've got 2 angel numbers there, the 11 and the 33. So giving this energy, receiving this energy, taking in these light codes. And now let's bring this energy back into ourselves whenever it feels in alignment. But all this energy that you so generously given, just now receiving it. Placing hands on your body, bringing that energy back all the way through you, and allowing yourself to be resourced, re-energized by the love and the light that you are. Sending you so much love this week. As always, namaste. See you next week.